I'm going to slide to the left. Okay, good morning. It is 5:30. We are going to do our emotional regulation. You're going to inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale after being counted down in descending order. After I say 3, 2, 1, let's get this neuro party started. 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm sliding back in frame. Good morning. It is me, Dr. Donna. Okay, seriously. It is me, the amazing Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers. Good morning, Lola. Yes, I am the daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and great-granddaughter of Levi Thomas. Welcome to your morning mental workout. Today is day number 695 for me, consecutive days live. One thing that we do over here, because this is a mental workout, we have this nice little mineral element on the periodic table called H2O. And it is water, liquid gold, Vasa, agua. And we drink water over here. Drink water, drink water. I used to say that when I was in the military training privates. And the reason why we do that is because the brain is 75% water. And on the West Coast, some of us have just woken up. First thing you need to do is hydrate in the morning before you take your coffee. Even though this is decaf, you got to do water first. And so throughout the live, and I decided this on a TikTok live yesterday, I'm going to say drink water. And if you are able to do so, you are not driving or working, you're going to drink water just to make sure that you hydrate. Now, today's topic is demand more for yourself. Yesterday, I discussed how to be a bad mofo, and demand more for yourself was part of that material. And I extrapolated that and decided that today we are going to learn how to demand more from yourself, because that is one of the key components to being a bad mofo. You can't demand more for yourself from yourself and then think that you're going to become your best. It's impossible to do. Question on the table number 1 is, what does it mean to demand more from yourself? I'm glad you asked. To demand more from yourself means holding yourself to a higher standard than what's comfortable, easy, or average. I'm going to say that again. You are holding yourself to a higher standard than what's comfortable, easy, or average. One of the 74 principles of real leadership is to set and maintain high standards, regardless of what anybody else is doing around you. In my daughter's business, sometimes we are there with independent contractors, we are there with contractors, and we are there with other taskers. And the things that we are responsible for doing, we do to the highest level. We cut up boxes, we pick up after ourselves, we set and stage rooms. Other people don't do that. But we demand more from ourselves, because go above and beyond is also a principle of real leadership. And second mile service is something that I learned from the Ritz-Carlton. So as a result, when you demand more for yourself, good morning, you are saying, I'm not going to be comfortable. That's why you subscribe on Instagram, because it's discomfort over there. That's why you do 30-day challenges. That's why you do Real Leader Resources. And that's why you do 365-day RL challenges, because you are not looking for comfort. Looking for comfort in all the wrong places. That's no brainer. We don't do what's easy. We do what's simple, but not what's easy. And the last thing that you are going to do is be average. I guess you just have to sit and find out, M2 player. Guess you're just going to have to sit and find out. Please do not interrupt me. I will get to questions. So you're going to have to sit back and listen and learn, or you can go to my YouTube channel and find out what I'm talking about. But I'm in the middle of talking right now. Next, It's about deliberately stretching beyond your current limits in order to grow. And so here are a few dimensions of what that means. So before we get into that, my question to you is, are you on the daily basis demanding more for yourself? And before you answer very quickly, take a moment to think. Do your ellipse, your brain emoji, your thinking emoji, if you're on here, Sean, your quote emoji, and really think about it. Are you demanding more of yourself on the daily basis consistently? Are you? And that's too high. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a long life. I would say yes, you are, Miss Rogers. I would say yes, you are. Because the day that you were tired and you went ahead and kept going, and then the effort that it took to put that vanity together the other day. So I would say yes, you are. And I can do better with that. Good morning, Jared. The question on the table is, do you demand more from yourself consistently on the daily basis? Do you demand more from yourself consistently on the daily basis? And because you just got here, demanding more from yourself means holding yourself to a higher standard than what's comfortable, easy, or average. What's comfortable, easy, or average? Are you demanding more from yourself daily? Okay, that was quick. All right. So we'll get to why. So remember your answers and we'll get to why. Lola, if you have to go or work, I understand it's a busy time for you. You can drop it in the comments and then I will refer back to it so that it is there and available should you need to watch the replay. And good morning, Bridget. And Bridget, the question on the table is, do you demand more from yourself on the daily basis? The definition is holding yourself to a higher standard than what's comfortable, easy, or average. You may, yes, but you can do better. Yes, ma'am. But I do not accomplish it. Very honest answer. So here's a few dimensions of what it means. Raising your standards. You said what now? Yeah, raise your standards. So not settling for good enough when you know you're capable of excellence. Good enough never is. My mind always looking for shortcuts instead of doing the work. Well, dang, Jared, why is that? Why is your mind always looking for shortcuts? And see, I try to give people chances and then they just show their ignorance and then they have to go. I'm usually seeing them hide because I know I can do it, but then them damn twins. Yep. So, yes. So, as Jared types, raising the standards, not settling is looking for the easy way out. Woo. Well, damn. Okay. So, take notes. Raising the standards, not settling for good enough when you know you're capable of excellence. And that's what my little tirade was about for the other day. Cause I'm like, y'all settling for regular and average. When you got 86 billion neurons, you are capable of so much more neurologically. All you have to do is go to the dentate gyrus every day and say, hey, I'm gonna need some neurons. I got some shit I'm working on. And then go create those neural pathways and get that shit done. That's all messed up. I meant setting them high because I know I can achieve them. Right. I understood what you meant. So expecting yourself to show up with more discipline, integrity, and consistency. Integrity and consistency and discipline. That's why I hate fucking motivation and inspiration because that shit don't last. It wears off. It's like showering. You're going to have to do that shit again. I'm not 12 years in on this. I'm not about to be celebrating another year on Instagram from December 16, 2015 to posting every single day because I was motivated. You know how much shit didn't happen since then? We went through a whole damn global pandemic and I didn't miss a damn day. That ain't motivation or inspiration. That shit is discipline. So raising your standard, and I'm going to stop right here. I feel compelled to stop right here and say, do you have a standard of excellence in everything that you do? A standard of excellence in everything that you do. When I worked at Frito-Lay, I had 2 pairs of steel-toe shoes, a pair of black ones and a pair of brown ones. And so depending on what khakis and shirt I had on, I wore my black ones or I wore my brown ones. And if anybody has ever worked in manufacturing or any type of manufacturing, your shoes get dirty and scuffed up just because of the work, especially in food industries. Oil, chips, it's on the floor, it's everywhere. And people just left their steel toes under their desk or in their office. And they wore their slides or whatever, walked in, changed and put them dirty ass shoes back on. And they laughed at me because I shined my shoes every day. I brush shined them every single day that I was in, until I didn't have to wear steel toes every day anymore. And they were like, why are you doing that? You ain't in the military no more. You ain't in the military no more. I tucked my shirt in until I was pregnant with Nola. I tucked my shirt in, my belt. I had my Letterman on my belt with my 2-way on my other side of my belt. And I was a lean, mean fighting machine. I was just Pepsi pretty is what they call it. And everybody just kept saying, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? And that's because I set the standard by which excellence is measured. When I was in the Army, we got mud on our boots. And you know what we had to do? We had to clear that fucking mud off and shine our boots, especially in basic training, put them back under the bunk because that's discipline. Do you know how disciplined you have to be and no one else around you is shining their steel toes because it's not even a standard anymore? And every day I make up my bed. We clean our house up. The standard is the standard. Y'all not going to see me with no ratty ass wig that look like a hat on here just because I have alopecia because I'm sitting down. I still wash and iron my t-shirts and then I sit down. I still brush my teeth. Y'all can't smell my breath, but my face is clean. You ain't seen me ever come on no live looking all disheveled. And that's not vanity. That's because I have a level of respect for myself. I'm setting a high standard of cleanliness, personal hygiene. This isn't even about beauty at this point, and it's in everything. And Nola laughs at me sometimes because I clean my grooves for her business. I have slip resistant shoes that have grooves in them, and I will clean the dirt out the bottom of the shoes. Tape, doggone. If we go to somebody's house and they have berries and that shit gets in the bottom of your shoes, I'm cleaning out the bottom of my shoes, regardless if we have to wear booties in a place or not, because that is a standard of excellence, and that is raising the doggone standard. And what happens is people get comfortable. Amy and Lala, we see it all the time. People have brand new houses, come back a couple years later, and they ain't taking care of shit. And it's not like the holes in the wall, but it's paper stacked all over the place. Stuff is everywhere. Shit is dusty and everything else. Why? Because the standard is lowered. It ain't new no more. It ain't new no more. So it's like, yeah, it ain't new. It's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. I have jeans and shoes and shit from 2005. We 20 years in, I can pull them out the box and put it right back on. And because I had taken care of it, and I didn't know that fucking clothes was going to be this raggedy, I'm glad I stayed the same size. So I'm like, I ain't wearing this shit. We're going to have to come back around because this shit fall apart before you take it out the damn store because it's not high quality. So my point is that you have to raise the standard for yourself. And I said this the other day on TikTok, walking around with fucking pajama pants on and bonnets and disheveled, beards ain't trimmed, nails got dirt in them and everything else just because you going to the store, you came outside. That shit tells us more about you than you think. I don't care. I ain't going to the whatever. You tell me you don't care. You telling me that you don't give a fuck how you look unless you going somewhere. That's what you're saying. You don't care that you look disheveled. That means that somewhere in your house is some disheveled shit. I guarantee you your house look like that. 100%. If you came out looking like that, some parts or all parts of your house look like that too. You told me everything I need to know, or your room, or your part of the house, your cars. That shit is junk into the motherfucker because you got clutter out here. It's clutter everywhere, right? So anyway, all of it, unkempt, doesn't matter. You need a haircut, you can still brush your hair. All of that. Soap is still cheap. Soap is not. Laundry soap and all that stuff still stayed the same. Cotton balls and deodorant. Nobody like deodorant is $15 a doggone for one tube of it. That didn't go up. It's still cheap. Washcloths you could get at the Dollar Tree. And towels too. Okay, and Ross and everywhere else. I digress. So raise the standard for yourself and for everything around you. Number 2, pushing through discomfort. And this is why people don't demand more for themselves. And Jared, you said that, looking for the easy way out. So choosing growth over comfort, even when it's inconvenient. Saying yes to challenges that require effort, focus, and resilience. I'm fighting Amy and Lala every day. And so that's one thing when you say yes to the challenge. When you work your way up to actually go on challenges, you literally have to say yes to the challenge. And the reason why I do that is so that when people have fallen out and they start calling me all kind of, well, not all kind of names, but telling me my programs suck and everything else, I just go back to, you said yes to the challenge. I didn't say make you do the challenge. You have to say yes and why you want to take the challenge. That's on purpose. That's on purpose. So if you start saying this ain't work, okay, well, here's your why. Here's why you said you wanted to take this challenge. And that's so that I can hold you personally accountable for your actual yes, because keep your word is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So it's personally pushing through discomfort. Next is number 3, personal accountability. You're taking ownership of both successes and failures. That's the hard part for everybody that is personally unaccountable. Everybody loves taking credit for the successes, and unaccountable people don't want to mention the failures. They're not going to say it. They're not going to mention it. If they do, it's credit and blame. I did my part. They ain't do their part. They fucked some shit up. And then, no, all of it. All of it. Were you there? Because what happens is if you commit crimes, you're accessory before the fact, to the fact, or after the fact. So were you there when Shishopalooza was happening? What did you say? What did you do? Did you attempt to prevent it? Were you not in a high enough position of power and authority to stop it? So that's what happens. And then people start doing the finger pointing because nobody wants to fail. But how you going to succeed if you don't fail? You're going to have to fail a lot before you succeed. Unless you take the easy route out or you enter into a false name bargain. And I have a Dr. Donna quote that says, when you skip the line, you leave the skills behind. And that's why you have people in these high level positions like, how the fuck did they get there? False name bargains and sycophancy. And now they are incompetent. And now they're not qualified. And so then they'll put a whole bunch of people around them to make it look like they know what they're talking about until they actually have to start talking. And now you're like, yeah, they don't. They don't know what they're talking about. How they get that position. You'd be surprised what a sycophant can get. You'd be surprised. They might not keep it, but they can get there. So in order to be personally accountable, you have to ask, what else can I do? Instead of blaming circumstances or others. What else can I do? I am live every day and people are not learning, growing, and developing. People are not subscribing on Instagram. And so I had to ask myself, I had a come to chat meeting with myself yesterday, with talking to Nola first and then going to chat so that I could get closure around what is taking place and why is that so important to me and why am I hell bent on it. And I had to do some soul searching. And then I came to the conclusion of what it was attached to. And now I understand there's 4 different types of people. You have the lookers, the listeners, the leapers, and the learners. And so what happens is we have 2 groups of people who are personally accountable and people who aren't. And people who are personally unaccountable are lemmings. And they lack critical thinking and they just go, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do what I'm programmed to do. The 1984 commercial for the Super Bowl with Apple says it all. And then you have the learners. And the learners want to learn how to be personally accountable. And with that information, now I don't have to take it personally when someone says, I'm going to subscribe and they don't. When I can look at the whole thing. Chat said, don't just focus on that. You are more than a subscription, Dr. Donna. I said, thank you very much, chat. You are correct. Look at the people who are here. Focus on the people who want to learn. And when people in their own time want to make that shift. Good morning, G-Man. Welcome from TikTok. When people make that shift, then they will be part of the learners and stop being lemmings. Oh my God, I'm mad at myself for losing track of time and being late. It's okay, Lorenzo. You got distracted. We understand how you got distracted. So what else can I do? So when something isn't working properly, I go within and say, this is on me. I created all of this. How can I make it function better? Because remove obstacles is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And as the educator, it's my responsibility to create an environment where you can actually learn, grow, and develop and use those principles to become a bad mofo. So that's how that works. Now, number 4 is continuous improvement. I am a continuous improvement master trainer certified by Frito-Lay. And if you want to look up continuous improvement and what it means to just keep improving, basically. And so I had to go through 2 weeks of arduous ass, very brutal hazing-like training in order to do that. That's one of my communications and certifications. And so it's demanding progress, not perfection. And we say that in all 12-step programs. It's progress, not perfection. That's why Chat grabbed it, because Chat has heard me say that somewhere and it pulled it in. Always looking for ways to sharpen your skills, expand your mindset, and improve your habits. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm taking my synapses, neurons, and brain class with the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, because I could rest on my laurels and I could still be looking at John Hopkins and the Cleveland Clinic and all of that, but that's not what's going to work. Get better on a daily basis. Exactly. That's why you have to do your neural check-ins or your neural reps on Instagram, because your day could be going one way and then you go on Instagram and you see a post. You communicate with somebody in the chat, and now that has refocused you to be in your prefrontal cortex. That's what all of that is designed to do. It's causing you to stop. One thing you can't do is interact with me and be on autopilot. It's impossible to do. Even if you interacted with my content, you're going to have to think, you're going to have to laugh, you're going to be like, damn, you're going to say something, you got to look something up, you'll have a conversation with somebody else, but you cannot interact over here and be a lemming. It's impossible to do because it was designed to talk to your prefrontal cortex. So Amy and Lala might be uncomfortable, but now you're like, oh, I got to look this up. Then do I make my bed up every day? I don't even know. Oh, is that one of the principles of real leadership? I wonder how she did that. Is that a lens? So your brain has to actually actively participate in what's taking place. And that's how you're going to continuously improve and strengthen your prefrontal cortex. Okay, number 5 is purpose and vision. Holding yourself personally accountable to your long-term goals, not just your short-term comfort. Immediate gratification is the new sexy. You have 5.9 billion adults waking up every day for immediate gratification. You ain't got no pill for that. Hey, what's the cheat code? I'm sorry, the life hack. Here's 5 life hacks to master your brain in 17 seconds. Until Amy and Lala show the fuck up this afternoon. And then them hacks gonna go away. The hacks are whack because they're not going to work long term. Be well. They're not going to work long term, but they gonna tell you that they are. You can eat doggone almonds and blueberries and your ass going to turn into Einstein. Ain't going to create that new neural pathway, but keep eating and staining your teeth. That's all that's going to do. So aligning daily actions with the bigger picture of who you want to become. Who you want to become. And I've said this before and I will continue to say it. 2 levels up. I am already a Nobel Prize laureate. That's why I'm waiting patiently on the Nobel Prize channel on Instagram, the page, to tell me who these winners are throughout the month, because I'm studying them. Who is the winner in physiology? Who is the winner in literature? Who is the winner in brain? I forgot the other one, damn perimenopause. But who is it? I want to know. In peace, who is it? I got to know what they did. Study the best so you can become the best. So that's where my head is. That's where I'm at. I'm at 3,000 people are actively engaged in real leadership on a daily basis. I don't care what that number says. And now that I've reconciled people not subscribing immediately on Instagram, I'm good. Shortcuts don't work. Shortcuts end up cutting you out. You take enough shortcuts, your ass gonna end up back where you were. You go, how the fuck? What did I do? They end up cutting you. So yeah, shortcuts are no brainer. So in short, to demand more from yourself is to refuse mediocrity. To refuse mediocrity. To refuse it. In this climate of cancel culture, as soon as someone says something or does something that pisses some little weasel mouth, mealy mouth ass punk motherfucker off, cancel you. Mediocrity is not the answer. Mediocrity is not the answer. Hey, free thinker, how are you? Study those who achieve what you want. Exactly. Study the best. And if you ain't got nobody else to study your damn self. Sometimes I just have to go and watch my own content because there ain't shit out there that I need in that moment. Paul said, I encourage myself. That's what I have to do sometimes. Because it's not a lot out there that I can look at and be like, see, and that's what I'm talking about. No. That's how come I ended up watching Alexander the Great, Alexander the Making of a God, because I'm like, ain't shit else on Netflix that I'm about to watch. And found out a lot. That's where we got Gordy and Knott from for the brain bit. So anyway, you got to refuse mediocrity. And it don't matter if you married to mediocrity. It doesn't matter if you were birthed by mediocrity or you gave birth to mediocrity. You have to refuse it. Right. You have to refuse it. Free thinker, you're gonna have to wait because we're talking about a different subject. So you're gonna have to stay to the end and I will tell you about that. Because I got all kind of shit for all kind of shit. But right now, I'm talking about demand more from yourself. So you're gonna have to listen because the lesson is over here. That's what's about to take place. So my point is, for my own offspring, excellence is the only answer. Excellence is the only answer. I don't care about her mental illnesses. You can wire your brain around all that. So it's one standard, and that's bad mofo. That's the standard. If you didn't watch that live, go back to yesterday's live because that's how you become a bad mofo, and it's not what you think. Because that's the objective. Be the best is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And that basically means to be a bad mofo in your own right. Ain't no clone-itis over here. I'm not creating Dr. Donna-ites. We not over here. We stands. We got, no, that's not what it is. A real leader doesn't have a physical description, and it never will. That's why the brain is just the brain. And that's it. Because there is no we don't want no clones. There is no clone-itis over here. Absolutely no fandom, no idolization, no hero worshiping over here. It is learn how to use your brain so that you can become an extraordinary bad mofo and do whatever it is that your brain came here to do. And now, you're going to challenge your brain and your body to operate at their highest potential. You're going to challenge your brain and your body to operate at the highest potential and to live in a way that stretches you closer to the best version of yourself. That's how you demand more from yourself. You do it because that's what is important to you and not to anybody else. And you don't sacrifice you for a relationship. That's why I got divorced, because I was sacrificing me to be Harvey's wife. And that was not going to work because I was somebody before I married him. Then I was nobody. And then I needed to be somebody else, be me again. And so anytime you are sacrificing yourself for somebody else's brain, that's no brainer, because they are too weak to be strong enough to use their own neural pathways. And in order for them to be strong, you need to weaken yourself. That's no brainer. And I don't care who it is. I don't talk to my immediate family because they wanted me to be weak. If my daughter ever stops being personally accountable, she could kick rocks too, and she knows that. We're very clear about that. No one is going to stop me from improving and growing and becoming the person that I need to become in order to leave my impact on the face of the planet Earth. That's why you have to demand more from yourself. So what questions, observations, aha moments, or anything that you have before I go on to what brain regions you're using to demand more from yourself? And if you say no questions, we don't have a problem. This ain't a no questions. What is your takeaway, your thought in your default mode network? I just said we're going to have a problem, Jared, if you said no questions. Good morning, Lorenia. So takeaways, what's something that stood out for you? And I know you've been typing all along, Jared, sum it up. Because you're not going to be able to access your best if you don't demand more from yourself. So you can't become a bad motherfucker if you don't demand more from yourself. You can say, starting today, I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna start, I'm gonna continue. But because I'm demanding more from myself. I had to start saying subscribe on Instagram. I'm like, where the fuck they gonna learn that? Where they gonna learn how to be, where they gonna get their daily at to be strong enough to do a daily challenge? It's like, fuck, I gotta do something else. Always. What do you think I need to do more to demand more from myself? You need to be talking about your feelings every hour on the hour, because you will do a brain dump and you will do it at the end when you turn your resources in. And the reason why you need to do that is because you need to strengthen your insulin so that you can connect more in the moment. You're not acting like a fool every 3 weeks no more, but you're not in touch. You're not assessing the feelings dashboard every hour, just so that it becomes habit. My takeaway is I need to raise my standards and do the work. And what's one area? So pick one area, Jared, that you can start to raise your standards in. Goals should always be planned for the long term. Short term is just Amy and Lala's rhetoric. Yes. Bridget said, what if you put yourself first and still keep the people in your life, but change how you handle them? Is that okay? If you hold them personally accountable, then yes. If you still, because what's happening, Bridget, is that they still have neurotoxicity. So what you will need to do is you're going to end up having to have on protective gear every time you interact with them. And we called it mop gear in the military. So we had a pro mask and a jacket and some pants and some boots. And so you're going to have to, because you want to be neural clear and you want to be in a neural clear environment. And so even a little bit of toxicity is bad. And I've used the example before. We have a gas stove, and if I don't, go tick, 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 and then it lights. If I don't let it light and ignite the fire, the gas will come out. And then Nola will be upstairs and say, do you have the gas on? Because I smell it. And so that's enough to create cortisol. So you have to ask yourself, do you want emotional dysregulation around you? Is it necessary? And then if it is, now you got to protect your neural clarity, because they have emotional dysregulation, and as a result of that, they are going to create cortisol moments just because their Amy and Lala are dysregulated. So you got to ask yourself, is it worth it? Does this interaction benefit my brain? And why are you keeping those people in your life? Hopefully I've answered your question. No, I feel better because I'm more emotionally regulated. I thought I was good. Yes, ma'am. And then Jared, my first is to improve my Donna 2. I need to finish things like school. Yes, and you'll see them today if I'm not mistaken. Does brain dumping help regulate your feelings? Yes. So get your notebook, and I'll go to the Dollar Tree. You can go wherever. Here is my brain dump video book. It says it backwards, but yes. So you have a brain dump notebook. You want to write it down or text it to yourself and get it out. As every time you have cortisol, brain dump. Every time you feel cognitive overload, brain dump. Okay. All right. So moving on to the next section. Yep. Pardon the type. Listen, Jared, I got typos typing to y'all. I don't give a fuck about no typos. Are you going to do the work? A motherfucker with perfect grammar that's unaccountable. I'm not impressed with nothing they doing. The brain is going to brain. I got New York Times bestsellers, books that have been edited by top rated publishers with typos in it. Typos happen. Just dump whatever you're thinking about. Yes, 5 minutes at a time. You set a 5-minute timer, and whatever is in your head, put it on the paper. And if it keep coming, make it 10 minutes, because you're clearing it out, because your working memory can't function with all that other stuff in there. So you want it to be at a high level. Think of it like throwing up a bunch of letter soup so you can start spitting coherent sentences. Okay, Lorenzo, if that helps. Yes, so you are getting it out. And now you can read it. And then what you'll see is that Amy and Lala was just, the left amygdala was sending a bunch of false positives to the prefrontal cortex. You could be like, that's not true. That's not happening. Okay, got it. And then you'll be able to get back to doing whatever you were doing. All right, so here is the real leader brain, and you demanded more for yourself. First up on the scene is the prefrontal cortex. It is the CEO of your brain. This region sets higher standards and keeps your goals in focus. Demanding more for yourself means using your prefrontal cortex to plan, prioritize, and resist shortcuts. You hear that, Jared? And that's in my notes, already printed up. It says, I can go further than this. What's my next move? Now, what will happen is you will accomplish a big ass hairy goal, and big hairy audacious goal. BHAG is what we used to call it, corporate America. And what unaccountable people say you do, man, you could chill. Shit, that doctor, it took you 4 years. You say less. You could work. You could chill for the next 5 years. You finished. I got my doctorate in 2008. I published my book in 2009. Anybody that wrote a book, no, there was no break. There was no break. I finished my doctorate in August of 2008. My book was published in October of 2009. And I still was working and take care of Nola and dating at that time and everything else. So you don't stop. You can celebrate your wins, close that reward circuit loop, on to the next one. Because your brain didn't stop needing more. It didn't stop. Your working memory didn't stop needing to work. So when you take that break and you rest on your laurels, it's harder to keep that momentum going. And now you're like an old car that's been sitting in the garage for 10 years. You're trying to start your brain. And it's not working. So you keep working. My old habits are dying harder than Bruce Willis. This is my albatross. All right. Should I vent my problems to people or just, oh no, G-man, don't talk to people. No. Because what you'll be creating for them is external anxiety. And now you gonna put your problems on them, and they're gonna absorb it, and then y'all gonna start problem bonding. So no. You write that down for yourself. Okay, yes, they do. Jared. Okay. Yes. So no, this brain dump is for you. Everything that you do is for you and your brain and not for anybody else. So the last thing you do now, after you do a brain dump, if you have wise counsel and hello? Okay. So your thing might be held for review, Jared, because you said chokehold. YouTube. Okay. G-Man, they could also create further brain toxicity. Okay. Next is anterior cingulate cortex. And this is your accountability center. And it helps you monitor when you slip into excuses or comfort zones. So when you find yourself making excuses and you find yourself on a couch wrapped up in your koozie eating bonbons, the ACC is going to regulate you. Regulators mount up. So it keeps you aware of gaps between what you are doing and what you are capable of doing. So it whispers, don't settle. Do it again. It's telling you don't settle, but it's a whisper. It's coming from the insula too, and it's letting you know, and I'm going to talk about the insula, but that's your gut instinct. It's sending you messages and saying, don't do that. That's bad. Don't do that. Get your ass off the couch. Stop eating bonbons. Turn the TV off. You're like, no, we good. Amy and Lala like, la, 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 be quiet. La, 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 we don't hear you. La, 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 la. And they're louder. So they're louder, and now you're like, yeah, I'm just sit here for a minute. I'm just watch 10 minutes of TikTok. 4 days later, you still on TikTok. So the ACC regulates that. Next is the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, and it's the discipline driver. Powers your working memory and self-control. You use your working memory all day long, dozens, if not hundreds of times an hour, every hour that you are awake. So you need your working memory. And it's essential for staying consistent when you'd rather quit. I'm going to say that again. It's essential for staying consistent when you'd rather quit. In 12 years, how many times y'all think I said, yeah, fuck this, I don't want to do this? I never said it. Bullshit. Said it a lot. I probably said it this week. So it's saying, no, you don't get a chance to quit, Doc. It's bigger than this. That's why you got to have a why. That's huge. And you got to have a strategy. So that when Amy and Lala creep in talking about comfort, you remember your why. And then the main thing is the main thing. And it gives you the mental stamina to push past good enough, because good enough never is. And I've said this before. I find it quite interesting how unaccountable people, lazy people, and people who are letting themselves off the hook don't want nobody else to do the same thing. Nobody wants to be on the receiving end of somebody else's mediocrity. No, how dare they? This is a shame. Somebody clean this store up. Hey, your whole house junkie. I can't believe this. Bad service. You done showed up late to work every day for the last month. Oh, this is an atrocity. Is it? Or is it just doing what everybody else is doing? They just doing it to you. So you don't like it, but you don't want to change. You want them to change. So your life could be even simpler and regular and mediocre than it already is. That's what's happening. How dare they? This service is terrible. You walking in the job. I'm doing the bare minimum so these motherfuckers don't fire me. They walked in their job and said the same thing. But now your order is wrong. You went to get your favorite mocha chocolate latte and you said regular milk and they put soy in that shit and you was like, and you didn't taste it before you left. And now you calling Jennifer everything but a child of God because you mad at her. But she said the same thing. Fuck this Starbucks. I hate these motherfuckers. I'm gonna fuck up everybody's drink today. Everybody on the receiving end, everybody's don't want to demand more for themselves. And then you start blaming all the entities, the government, and the school system, and capitalism, and they need to do better. Until it comes to you, boo-boo. And then, no, Sit on the couch and eat bonbons. Roger that. Okay. So in the insula, so do we understand? You need the mental stamina to say good enough never is. Good enough never is. And the reason why is because people are lazy. People don't want to create the neural pathways to create second mile service. They don't want to learn nothing new. They just want to stay where they are in their comfort zone and look how cute and let everybody just keep doing the same thing. That's why they dusting off movies from the 90s and dusting off music from the 90s and everything else, because the motherfuckers that's in charge now can't think of no new shit. I know we just gonna bring back all the rappers from the 90s and we're gonna bring back all the shows from the 90s. That worked. No, because you ain't got no new damn ideas. Dusting off the old shit because the new shit sucks. Anyway, insula is the inner coach. So it translates body signals like stress and fatigue into awareness. If you are stressed, if you are tense, that's why you do that 5-minute brain dump, because the insula is saying, no. Write it down. Get it out. So it helps you notice discomfort without letting it stop you. Amy and Lala going to be trying to argue with the prefrontal cortex, and the insula is like, The insula says, yes, this is hard, but hard doesn't mean stop. I told you I failed the test so bad in my class, I got a 33 on it. And then I got a 55. You got to get an 80 to pass. And the shit is so hard, and I've said this, they give you 10 times to take each test and 3 times to take the final. That's how hard it is. You know some shit is hard when you literally get 10 times to get an 80%. Just to get to an 80%. So yeah, it's hard, but my why is bigger, because somebody got to understand how the brain actually works and then take that information and put it in layman's terms so you can understand how your brain functions so you can function better. And that person is me. Hence, baddest motherfucker walking the face of planet Earth. Number 5 is the basal ganglia, and this is the habit builder. Demanding more isn't a one-time act. It's built into daily habits. I'm going to say that again. Y'all need to put it on repeat, and I'm going to say it one more time. Demanding more isn't a one-time act. It's built into daily habits. That's why you got to be on Instagram daily, multiple times a day, because you are doing your neural clear reps. If you demand more, you got to do it daily throughout the day. You can't say, I'm good. Okay, I signed up. I got people that signed up for the subscriptions. Ain't seen them motherfuckers. Ain't been in nothing. Ain't joined the broadcast channel. Ain't looked at a story. Ain't even responded to the initial message that I sent to them. Somehow they think it's going to work. It's in your daily. It's in your daily. Amy and Lala fucking with you throughout your day, so you're going to need to strengthen your prefrontal cortex throughout your day to battle those two. Now, this region reinforces repeated choices so that striving becomes automatic. It turns effort into a lifestyle. Hey, okay, Jessica, it turns effort into lifestyle. So that's why you're there every day. That's why so many different types of content, so that I'm tapping into all of your doggone 4 major lobes and two minor lobes and everything else, so that your brain is having this whole brain experience. And so then all of a sudden that brain fog is going to go away and you're just going to start seeing things differently. You're just going to wake up one day and be like, damn, I didn't recognize that. What's that? How was that always over there? What's that? And then you're just going to start seeing things as they actually are. You do. You actually do. Jared, you can actually go on my Instagram and go across. And my highlights got 100 across and 100 deep. It's 12,000 YouTube videos on YouTube. Pick a playlist. That's why so much content out here, because you can't engage in my content and Amy and Lala still be talking shit. It's impossible to do. Impossible to do. And so speaking of Amy and Lala, we coming around third. Amy and Lala in a balanced prefrontal cortex, they challenge, you do the challenge reframe. So the amygdala reacts to fear, but when it's guided by the prefrontal cortex, it fuels courage. So when you have emotional regulation, Amy and Lala are going to say, hell yeah. And Bridget, you said, I'm my own best cheerleader. Go ahead and do that shit. Watch out, Doc. Okay, bet. You got it. You got a strategy. We here for it. That's what's going to happen. And demanding more from yourself means reframing fear as fuel for growth. You're going to reframe the fear and say, oh, I got Amy and Lala just gave me some fuel. Let me go ahead and go do this. I got some fear fuel, and that's going to help me grow. So the takeaways are this. When you demand more from yourself, you activate the prefrontal cortex to lead. You use the ACC to hold yourself accountable. You engage the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex for self-discipline. You lean on the insula for resilience, saying you can do this, it's hard, but you're harder and you're tougher. You train the basal ganglia for habits, which is why you're on Instagram subscriptions, which is why you're interacting, because your brain is doing different things and learning when you research. Hey, and today is who invented braces. Now you got to go. You all get different information from each other. You talk about your favorite things and everything else, and your brain has neural clarity. That's the objective, to get rid of all the damn toxicity. So you have this very strong prefrontal cortex, and now you can work on being your bad motherfucking self. And it's just not about willpower. It's a full brain leadership workout. That's why you are demanding more for yourself. In a world right now where everybody's sitting around complaining and ain't conquering and ain't doing shit, you're like, I ain't doing that. I ain't sitting around waiting on some dumb shit, wondering if people gonna figure it out, because 5.9 billion adults got emotional dysregulation. They're gonna say some dumb shit, they're gonna do some dumb shit, and then they're gonna sit in their comfort zone and do nothing. You know that. So don't have conversations about, did you know that if the shit don't make sense, it's because the amygdala made the decision. You ain't got to go that Kiki Palmer sound on TikTok. And 1 + 1 is 2, and 2 + 2 is 0. What the fuck is this? It's emotional dysregulation. It's emotional dysregulation. You do not have to scratch your head anymore about any adult decision. They don't know how the brain functions, so they don't even know why they're functioning. Quita last week said she hate carbs, and she just eating carbs, and now she overweight from eating carbs, because Amy and Lala like carbs, macaroni and cheese. Give me some carbs, 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 carbs. I literally wrote about this in my brain dump. There you go. I need to force myself to be better. You need to empower yourself, G-Man. Go to my website, turnarounddoctor.com, and look at the 74 principles of real leadership. That's how you can lead your life. But if you force yourself to do something, that's going to piss you off. You discipline yourself to do it. You empower yourself, and word choice matters. Today, look up discipline, empowerment, empower, and force, and see which one resonates with your brain more. I force myself. I'm a force. I'm going to empower myself. I got to be disciplined enough to get this shit done every day. The tone of it. Force is a negative word. There's a force to be reckoned with. It's like, ooh, look at that force. They open the door with brute force. That's not. Yes, the 74 principles of real leadership, PRINCPLES, on my website, The Turnaround Doctor. They are how you can navigate through your adult life and have great results as a result of that. And then Envy, who's not on here this morning, did that presentation on YouTube. If y'all haven't saw it, go look at it. And I put all the different principles of real leadership that were used to create that presentation. Yes, your insula is still scary. And I wanted you to have that impact. Okay, so that's the takeaway. So now I'm going to go to the 3-step process to set high standards. Not set high standards, to demand more for yourself. Number 1 is to set a higher standard. Define what more looks like for you. Clearer goals, tighter discipline, or bolder actions. I really like the website. Thank you very much, Jessica. We did a revamp, and I had a very hard time letting go of my old website. I had it for 12 years, and I had to let it. Well, that version of that one was probably 7 or 8 years. But thank you for that. We made it as simple as possible. But I was having Amy and Lala. I was like, you got to have your face on it, know your profile. And Nola was like, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. It's not about you. It's about them. It's not about you. Let that shit go. So thank you for that, Jessica. All right. So all your ideas. Yep. The color is so popping and it's so easy to navigate. Thank Jessica. You have made my day. And that's one of the fish philosophies, because I promise you, I was behind the scenes. I was like, and I'm just okay. But we had to switch because WordPress was too cumbersome and I needed to be able to make changes from I've been with GoDaddy since 2008. But was hosted on WordPress, and it was just the old arcade. They wanted me to update the PHP and all this other. I was like, fuck it, just switch it over. The goal was for it to be mobile first. Yes. And so the old head me wanted it to still have, because I thought those photos was cool. And I was like, that's looking slick. Turn around, Dr. Reed took the logo off. And I was like, behind the scenes, like, and we're going to take the logo off too. We can't put the logo at the bottom. But embrace change. And so I had to. And I told her, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to yell. I'm going to curse. I'm going to be mad. And then I'm going to do what's best for everybody else. And yes, and Envy's video is a good one to watch. It is. It's in the chat. So, yeah. And again, if you would like to post something in the chat, you send it to me first. And I'm going to say this has real leadership value or it doesn't. And that's that. And yes, he was professional and adorable. Yes. Who did you switch to? I already had GoDaddy hosting. I've had GoDaddy hosting since 2008. Always been hosting on GoDaddy, but I was on WordPress, so I just took all my website information and put it on a GoDaddy template. That's what happened. So GoDaddy was always the hosting. It was the templates that I was using. I was using WordPress templates, and then I switched to, because originally GoDaddy's mobile first was terrible. That's how I ended up with WordPress, but then WordPress didn't. GoDaddy stepped their game up, and so it was easier to switch back. Just take my information and put it on a GoDaddy template instead of a WordPress template. Okay, so set high standards. Define what's more. Oh, and that's the other thing. If you want to put something in the Real Leader chat, you need to send it to me first. And then I will understand whether it has relevance or not. And if it does, then I will be the one that posts it, and I will put the message that says why this is real leadership and brain worthy. So that's how that goes for anybody. And yeah, if you decide to do it on your own, then I'm going to reprimand privately. Okay. Define what more looks like for you. Clear goals, tighter discipline, and bolder actions. And refuse to settle for average when excellence is possible. That's why people have to start over, or people can't come back, because I don't want your average ass energy over here. If you don't want to be a real leader and you don't want to be a bad mofo and function at a high level, that's your choice. That's your personal choice. But you're not going to be over here, because that's my choice. Excellence always. We are at 100% personal accountability over here, working towards it. But I'm not about to be like, well, you need the numbers. No, the fuck I don't. At one point, I was the number. And then NOLA became the number. So I'm good with small numbers, because SEAL teams go in and do great jobs. MPs go in and do big shit with little bitty people. So that don't bother me at all. But I'm not about to have a neurotoxic environment for some numbers' sake. Say, look at how many people. Not gonna happen. So you take your average ass back to Loserville with the rest of the losers. So you ask, what's the next level I can reach? You accomplish it, and then you say, what's my next level? That's how this goes. Number 2, you hold yourself personally accountable. That's the number 1 principle of real leadership, even though I think it's like number 43 in chronological order. Number 1 principle of real leadership is hold yourself personally accountable and everybody else around you. And that's what I was telling you, Bridget. People still got to be personally accountable. So you track your actions daily, and you call yourself out when you fall short. And that's what I was doing when people wasn't signing up. I was calling myself out, but then I was like, wait a minute. This ain't that. Nola said you don't work at Frito-Lay no more. This your shit. I was like, oh, okay. Message. Got it. Loud and clear. And you replace excuses with ownership. If I need to apologize when I'm wrong, I have done it on the lives before. But if I'm not wrong, I'm not apologizing. I take ownership for everything that I've ever said or done. And I don't say, well, I was in my whooping ass phase back then. No. Amy and Lala was popping the fuck off. And I did not have inhibition control in that moment. My bad. That's how that goes. And you use reflection questions like, am I giving my best? And what else can I do right now? When I get off the live, I go in the shower. That's my default mode, network time. I go over everything. Now I'm going over 2 lives, what I did, what I said, what I'm going to say tomorrow, what I'm going to say on my afternoon live. I'm constantly reflecting in my default mode network, because I'm ABIing, always be improving. And number 3 is you want to move past comfort, move beyond comfort. You're going to have to empower yourself to push past comfort. So you step into situations that challenge your discipline, your courage, and your persistence. You train your brain to see discomfort as proof of growth, and you commit to consistent effort until demanding more becomes your habit. I go to appointments with my daughter because I can't assemble shit. It was a global pandemic, and I was a germaphobe, 2 major things for me, and I am there. I can't read the manuals. I can put some drawers together, and you look in the Instagram story, and I show you that I can put some drawers together. I can hold some shit, and I can cut some boxes. That's what I can do. The rest of that is on her. But I am there at those appointments, in rush hour traffic, all kind of situations. I'm like, you building what? What the fuck? Why is LED lights in every damn thing? Everything. How high? You gonna be what? How many curtains? Outside curtains on the patio. Why you got to be on top of the roof 20 feet in the air taking Christmas lights down? What the? So every day, her business has me on edge. It's a rare occasion where we could just get some regular IKEA shit and just put some drawers together. I'm like, cool, we don't even need the manual. Bet, nothing. I had to start using an electric screwdriver. Drawers are complicated. All of them ain't the same. They got all kind of shit for drawers now, hardware. I'm like, before it was simple. And in these last 2 years, they just said, how complicated can we make it to put these drawers together? Okay, yeah. All right. We had to put a cube together. That thing had 16 drawers, and every drawer had 12 pieces of hardware. And it might even been 16 pieces of hardware for every damn drawer. I was like, wow. But it challenges me, and I demand more for myself so I can come back and say, I'm still challenging myself. Dirty hands, clean money. Because my work is up here. Hers is out here for now. So yes, all kind of brackets and shit. Yes, closets. We have done, I think, 4 or 5 closets back to back, because the stuff comes in seasons. And so y'all saw that video. I'm like, yeah. And so the fucking hardware for the closets ain't working. The hardware from Lowe's, the big shit that we get, not that other shit, because she a Lowe's pro. I'm sitting in the closet on the ladder like, so yeah, a third of the box of this hardware don't work. So we put it in the wall, got to take it out. Put it in the wall, take it out. That shit ain't opening it up. It ain't doing like it's supposed to. But demanding more. 4 years ago, she couldn't do none of these appointments we had this year. Not and then one was going to be possible, but demanding more. Saying yes to hard ass shit. Hydraulic beds and shit. They got floating fucking drawers now at the bottom of beds with LED light. Like, why? Just what happened to, we got to make box springs now. You can't just buy box springs no more. The motherfuckers come in a small ass box that turns into a box, and they got slats and covers and all. I'm like, she tell me, and I just go, okay. And then I'm ready to go. So demand more from yourself. Demanding more from yourself isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right thing at a higher level every single day. The right thing at the right level every single day. So I just put together 3 cabinets, all different, but look the same. Yep. And we doing this in the same day and leaving. Same day. Bye. See y'all later. Today we got to put up custom curtains in somebody's guest house. So there you have it. All right. Let me go ahead and talk about the brain as a window, and then we're going to close out. All right, so your brain as a window. Think of your brain as a window. Clarity. A clean window lets light in, just like a focused brain lets in new ideas, learning, and creativity. A clean, clarified brain is going to let new ideas in, learning, and creativity. Obstructions. A dirty, foggy window blocks your view. The same way distractions, stress, and negativity cloud your thinking. So you're not going to be able to be neural clear if you are in environments that distract you, stress you out, and are full of neurotoxicity. It's not going to happen. You are not going to be clear. And the perspective is this: a window gives you a view of the world, and your brain frames how you see reality through your mindset, your memory, and your perception. Jimmy was on here the other day, and no matter what I said, Jimmy saw what Jimmy wanted to see, because that's the window that Jimmy was looking out of. Jimmy couldn't see that he had brain fog and a hijacked amygdala, and nothing that he was saying that was true because of confirmation bias and conformity bias. Jimmy saw what he wanted to see no matter what I was saying to him, and that was his perspective. And until you learn how the brain functions and how you functions, you will have a cloudy perspective too. You will be seeing it from your confirmation bias and your conformity bias, instead of saying this person has emotional dysregulation. As soon as this person knows how to strengthen their prefrontal cortex, they will go into their own individual personality, and they will start to think and assess from a logical perspective instead of from an emotional perspective. So people got cloudy ass windows. Openness. You can choose to keep the window open for fresh air, so that's new knowledge and growth, or closed to protect your energy and focus. And that's what I'm telling you, Bridget. When you are around those neurotoxic people, close the window so you can see them, but them fumes can't come in and get you. Put up your shield. And tomorrow's live, I'm going to be talking about build emotional armor, either tomorrow or Wednesday, or Thursday, because tomorrow's Wired Wednesday. And then the maintenance. Just like windows need cleaning, your brain needs rest, reflection, and mental workouts to stay clear and strong. So the takeaway is this: your brain is your window to possibilities. Keep it open, keep it clean, and keep it clear. All right. What did you learn today? What did you learn about yourself? And what was your brain conversation yesterday? And for the new people who showed up and stayed, if you have any questions, I will answer them at this time. My eyes are itching. What did you learn today? What did you learn about yourself? And what was your brain conversation? And as a friendly reminder, when you are thinking, it is, there you go, Zoe. It is an ellipse, a thinking emoji. If Sean was on here, she would have her comment cloud, a brain, whatever you want. But number one, you're doing that because I know that you still are here and present. And number two is so that I will know that YouTube hasn't it disabled my chat on my phone and that I would need to go and look at the comments on my tablet. So a thinking emoji, a brain, a sign, a ellipse, a something that says that you are prepared to answer these final questions. And if you were over here from TikTok and you came, you need to answer the questions too. Jessica, so I was late, but I do know to push myself to be better, harder because I do the bare minimum. Yes. Jalapeno Sky Raisin. It's always interesting to see people's usernames because I'm an old head. And so, yeah, when people have other things other than like a brand name or something, I'm just curious as to what that is. And G-Man, you're supposed to be sending me the link to your stuff on Instagram if you're still on here. Bridget said the insula helps you notice discomfort, but it doesn't mean stop. Yeah, so remember, G-Man, you're supposed to be sending your clothing stuff to my Instagram, Turnaround Doctor. Don't let me remind you again. I learned that I can always do better and stop letting fear stop me. That's correct. I learned comfort zone isn't good, so if I'm getting comfortable, I need to push harder. You need to be disciplined daily and you will never get to a comfort zone. What will happen is when you have daily discipline, comfort, you be like, ugh, y'all comfortable over here? I gotta go. Whew, what is that comfort in the air? No, I'm allergic to comfort. I will break out in hives. I gotta get the hell out of here. Jared said, I learned that I need to be more demanding of myself and pushing through my comfort zone. It's a funny inside joke. Oh, this is me. Hey, Jangel. Okay, got it. Lorenzo said, I need to listen more to the whisper and not the shouts. The whispers are going to save you. And then Bridget, I spoke with my mom about exercising her brain daily. Got it. And what did you learn about yourself? Bridget, I don't see that. So what did you learn today? What did you learn about yourself and your brain conversation? All right. Free thinker. I learned that I have trouble remembering my thoughts and at the end of a conversation, and I still want to know your thoughts on recovering from consistent failures. Okay. I started reading nonfiction 15 minutes a day. I'm coming back to you, free thinker. G-Man, and also don't force myself to change. All right, Jessica, and my brain conversation was teaching my son about the brain, and he's learning discipline and becoming a better person because I know you didn't just type motivation in there. Motivation is a quick fix. Never mind. Got it. I saw that. I'm like, warning, red flag. I understand. Yes, ma'am. That's amazing. Nola, I learned about myself, emotional regulation, and brain dumps aren't enough. I need to talk about my feelings multiple times throughout the day, too. And Zoe said, I want a drill sergeant on my room because he kept complaining about doing our dailies. Jane Fonda. Now he can actually touch his toes. I held him accountable. It was intriguing watching my past. That's awesome. Once I put my mind to something, I'm a BMF. Yes, you are. And Jared said, talk to my wife about how the amygdala keeps you stuck in your feelings. Okay. And now Free Thinker says, thoughts, a conversation. I still want to know thoughts of recovering from consistent failures. Okay, so I'm going to tell you why you're consistently failing. You are consistently failing, Free Thinker, because your amygdala is hijacked and you have emotional dysregulation, and so your brain is wired for failure. We are hardwired for negativity bias, and so you actually, just like what Bridget was saying on the TikTok live, you have a fear of success. So you automatically, when it gets time to be successful, Amy and Lala come in and rescue you. They have you have programmed them to stop you so that you won't be successful, because if you're successful once, now people are going to expect you to be successful. But as long as you're not being successful and you're failing, that's comfort too. So that's dysregulation as well. So now you can just not have to do it, because shit, that's a lot. And the effort that it takes to actually succeed is a lot. It is extremely neurologically tasking to succeed. And because you have a weak prefrontal cortex, you don't have the skill sets to actually be wired for success. And in order to get them, you would have cognitive overload, which would then make you feel even more stressed, because now you're saying, damn, I gotta do all this, it's too much, I'm not gonna fucking do it. But all you're doing is getting older and becoming less skilled and failing more, and you keep trying to do things because you don't have the skill set or the neural pathways to get it done. So when my daughter first started in business, she could put some furniture together, but then she needed to do math, she needed customer service, she needed to manage calendars, and it was all these other micro skills that she had to do in order for her to be elite and have almost 1,200 5-star reviews. So it was all the daily work, and it's in your daily. So you need to subscribe on Instagram and strengthen your prefrontal cortex so you can access your executive function, because that's where you become successful. All of that is what you need to navigate through all problems, decision making, strategic, anything happens in the prefrontal cortex. All right. So Lorena Morgan, challenge my brain and body every day. Comfort not good. Remember basic training. Yes. Lorenzo, but also annoying because, oh my God, Amy will literally make so many excuses, like so many. Yep. Well, actually, Lala is making excuses because she's in the left hemisphere. She's the one doing all the words. Amy is just saying, looking at it and saying, yeah, we're not doing that. Lala, tell them we're not doing that. And then Lala goes and talks to the hippocampus, releases the cortisol and say, yeah, we're not doing that. Remember the last time we tried that? That shit failed. And then the hippocampus moves past the insula ACC and says, hey, I need to talk to the prefrontal cortex. I'm going, no, the cortisol is already there, shuts down executive function, and you ain't about to do shit. I learned everyone needs to demand more from themselves and to be a bad mofo. Bright light coming from Bridget. Nola also said my conversation about my brain was talking about how my consumption being calmer has caused me to be more emotionally regulated. And now I can feel when stuff makes me emotionally dysregulated, and then I avoid that stuff. Yes. Well, you say no to that. And so the insula, the more you strengthen the prefrontal cortex, the more you do the breathing app, the more you do the brain dumps, what happens is you're strengthening the insula, and the insula is saying, Amy and Lala, that's not what's happening. And then the ACC is the referee, Miss Brenda, the executive administrator, saying, we're not doing that. No, that's a false positive. Sit your ass back down. The cortisol isn't released, and you maintain emotional regulation. And let me know, free thinker, if I have answered your question, if you are still there. You had a light bulb moment. Okay, cool. Do you want to say what the moment was? Because I thought you were saying bright idea. All right, so if you haven't watched Envy's video, go back in the chat and see it, because the assignment was worth 60 points, and the teacher said, this is great, 65 points, and I'm gonna use this next semester. So it was above and beyond, and it was hard to tell. It was a bunch of medical terms, and it was talking about pneumonia and all that happens in the lungs and how you work with patients and everything. So it's a 4.5-minute video, and that's that. So in summary, ladies and gentlemen, for the visitors, I just got this term and all this revelation this morning. Pardon me. There are 4 types of L's: lookers, who just come to look, especially here on YouTube, and then the listeners, who are listening and deciding and determining if they are actually ready to become a leaper. And a leaper is someone who actually subscribes, and then they become a learner. And what you learn is how your brain functions so that you can function better, so that you too one day can be a bad motherfucker. Yes, it's in Real Leaders, Jared. It's a video. You'll see it. It's the thumbnail is not me. It's of Emmy. Yes. And so the question to you is, do you want to learn how your brain functions? If you do, go subscribe on Instagram. You got two choices. You're either going to be a lemming or you're going to be a learner. And you can be a lemming that turns into a looker, then a listener, then a leaper, and you can become a learner. So it is progress, not perfection. Chat had to explain that to me because I'm like, I told you, why you waiting, why you vacillating? But if you're not mentally ready to learn how your brain functions, I have to have empathy for you and understand that even that is going to take time for it to process for you. That is what it's going to take. And so I realize that I am not in operations. I am not in sales ops at Frito-Lay anymore. And it's not coming off the line this fast and hurry up and get the orders and sales and none of that is happening. And it's progress, not perfection. The brain will brain. And when it's time for you to learn how to use your brain, you will go and start learning how to use your brain. I like how you really listened and adjusted to your conversation yesterday. Okay. Just message me because I'm still confused, Bridget. I don't know what I adjusted. When I'm talking, I'm not like taking in what I'm saying because I'm giving it out. So if you just message me, then I will know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you make learning easy. I make it simple. Easy is what the ladies of the night are. No, it's simple. I'm an actual educator. I'm not a teacher, and that's why you can understand it. A true captain grows with the crew mates, not against them. You're amazing. Thank you very much for that, Zoe. I appreciate that. Yeah, but I just want to understand for myself, Bridget. So the spirit of time, just message me in Instagram so that I can that was just about what you just did. Oh, that's what I just did. Okay, got it. I like how you really listened and adjusted to your conversation yesterday. Okay, got it. Said, I appreciate you, love, truly. Okay. Your conversation. Oh, with ChatGPT. Okay, now I understand what you're saying. We got bit. We were putting a shed together and damn mosquitoes all in plants. So now I'm scratching like I got fleas. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I do thank you for your time. As always, every last comment, because chat told me to value every comment, every person that is present, every person that is already subscribed. Chat told me every follower, all of that. Pay attention to the people who are here and who are actually doing the work. Don't let some past trauma from your not even past trauma, but the interactions with unaccountable people make you feel bad about the work that you're doing. Chat said this is progress, not perfection. It's a marathon, not a sprint. That's me saying that. And now I get it and I understand it. But if I wasn't talking about my feelings on TikTok this morning and sharing with y'all what Chat and I was talking about, then I don't get those aha moments. And so that's what happens. Once you get clarity, then you can go and talk in neural clear environments and you can become clear. You can create new fire and wire synaptic connections and new neural pathways. Because again, my objective is to allow adults the environment for them to learn how their brain functions so that they can learn how they function. So that's what's happening. You're learning how your brain functions so you can be equipped in those moments to say, shut up, Amy and Lala, that's not what we're doing. We're strengthening our prefrontal cortex. I'm going to listen to my insula. I'm going to listen to my gut brain that's sending 400 messages to my head brain, one-way communication every day. And it allows you to be emotionally regulated. So you're not on edge all the time. You're cool as the other side of the pillow. That is the objective every single day so that you learn it. And now you can go off and feel confident and have those brain conversations with other people because that's the only way it's going to change. I can't be everywhere. I'm not where you are and you're not where I am. So, but your brain is where you are and you're around a different group of people. When you start having those brain conversations, now people are like, well, shoot, I want to learn how my brain functions. I want to learn how and then everywhere you go is neural clarity. It's neural clear and there's no more neural toxicity. So it could feel like this everywhere. And then we could be bad mofos and go do some extraordinary shit that we didn't even think was neurologically possible because we're not fighting each other and we're not hijacking each other's amygdala because Amy and Lala are scared and they want to be comfortable. So that's my pie in the sky, 2 levels up vision for the world. And, world peace is what they say at the end of beauty pageants. We need emotional regulation. That's the answer. All right. Great having you here today. For those of you who attended both lives, thank you very much. Hopefully you will walk away empowered today to go do something extraordinary, demand more from yourself. That's right. Let's all be bad mofos. Right. You too could be, it's plenty of room. Everybody, 5.9 billion of those can be bad mofos. There's no limits whatsoever. The sky has no limits, and neither should you. That's a Dr. Donna quote that I borrowed and put pieces of it together from somewhere else. So I will be back tomorrow, God willing, higher power in the universe, same time, same place, safe space, different brain t-shirt. You all go off and have a brain-tastic day. Take care.